Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more.
Ah yes, that magical time of year is upon us, when the Hollywood elite are preparing to get all gussied up in their finest designer suits and their most lavish, bedazzled, swanky designer gowns to impress the hundreds of paparazzi with their continually flashing cameras and the interviewers with their waiting microphones, hoping to have a moment to talk with each passing Hollywood celebrity as they promenade along the red carpeted walkway that's adorned with enormous replicas of the most sought-after awards that drives much of what gets produced in Hollywood, the Oscars. But before proceeding, I'd like to ask everyone to please like this video, please subscribe to support this channel, and please press the bell to receive notifications. Thanks! Yes, to receive one of those beloved and most coveted golden statuettes in front of their fellow celebrities who voted for or against them is the singular moment for the recipients to thank everyone under the sun who helped them to receive the recognition symbolized by that magical totem. Historically, millions upon millions of households have watched the Hollywood elite's most self-congratulatory and egocentric gala in awe of the celebrities' fineries. But in recent years, more and more people at home have been tuning out as they have grown weary of devoting their personal time to watch the Hollywood elite's self-aggrandizement and self-importance, as they have increasingly used the Academy Awards stage as a platform to pontificate and sermonize their seemingly holier-than-thou beliefs to the millions of viewers watching from home who simply want to be entertained. For the Hollywood elite, the Academy Awards is the singular moment upon which their entire existence revolves due to the extreme importance that has been placed upon who gets nominated and who wins the awards. Don't believe me? It's all thanks to the slates of all-white actors and actresses nominated for Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress in 2015 and 2016 that led to woke identity politics taking over and dominating everything that now gets produced by Hollywood. 2016 is when the Hollywood studios hired new DEI managers and gave them far too much power over everything, to the demise of many beloved franchises, because pushing the woke identity politics message became the single most important goal, not whether the productions were well written, had good storytelling, or actually made money. 2/3 of all the movies that were released in Hollywood last year flopped, especially the most expensive ones, as I had talked about in a video that I had released right at the end of 2023. And one of the many contributing factors that led to many of those movies flopping was the preponderance of the woke identity politics message. And 2024 doesn't look like it's going to be much better, especially with movies like Sony and Columbia Pictures' first Marvel movie release of the year, Madam Web, with its all-female ensemble cast that effectively replaces Spider-Man. And as I had talked about in a video that I had released just before this one, I think Madam Web has a less than 50% chance of actually being able to break even because it's essentially uber woke, it's filled with characters that most people aren't familiar with, and the team who wrote the movie has a long history of writing flops, which includes Sony's and Columbia Pictures' previous live-action Marvel movie, Morbius, which flopped in 2022. But when the Oscar nominations were released this week for 2023 movies, there were, as there typically are, a few surprising snubs. The biggest snubs were made against two specific women: Margot Robbie, who played Barbie in 2023's highest-grossing movie, Barbie, as well as the movie's director, Greta Gerwig. Margot Robbie was not nominated for Best Actress, and Greta Gerwig was not nominated for Best Director, even though two of the movie's actors, Ryan Gosling and America Ferrera, were nominated for Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress, respectively. So the Barbie movie was not entirely snubbed by the Academy, but it would appear that the Academy doesn't like Margot Robbie or Greta Gerwig, in spite of the movie's enormous box office success last year. But when you start to look at the types of movies that do get nominated, you're going to quickly discover that most of the nominated movies either flopped in theaters or were only ever streamed online. So excluding the short film and documentary film categories, the only categories where future Star Wars Rey movie director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy won 2 Oscars, there are 19 relevant award categories for feature-length movies. And for those 19 categories, there are up to 100 nominations because all but one of them are limited to 5 nominees. But 10 movies can be nominated for Best Picture, though that's now limited to movies that meet the Academy's now mandatory woke identity politics quotas. If an otherwise great movie does not meet the Academy's woke identity politics quotas, then it can no longer be nominated for Best Picture. So all of this year's Best Picture nominees are, in reality, seeking the Best Woke Identity Politics award. That's what I began to call it last year, as I had talked about when Oscar award-winning actor Richard Dreyfuss said that the now mandatory woke identity politics quotas made him want to vomit. I have no doubt that most are too terrified to speak out against how much the woke identity politics messaging and quotas have taken over the entire Hollywood movie industry for fear of being permanently blacklisted. That's the Hollywood that exists today, and it's very likely no different from the Hollywood that was ruled by fear during the McCarthy era of the 1950s. That aside, when you think about all of the feminism and woke identity politics that has come to dominate Hollywood, the fact that Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were snubbed for their work in the very pro-feminist movie Barbie is extremely hypocritical. But let's take a look at what did get nominated this year. For the 19 relevant Academy Awards, 33 feature-length movies were nominated. And of those 33 nominated feature-length movies, only 5 actually broke even at the box office, but 15 were flops, 4 fall into the gray area, which means that it's not clear whether they broke even or not, and 9 were only ever streamed online, which means that they never actually earned any money on their own. So only around 15.2% of the nominated movies were box office winners, while at least 72.7% either flopped in theaters or made no money whatsoever. So the Academy Awards are quite literally a celebration of box office mediocrity and failure. And when you realize that, is it any wonder then that whether a movie makes money or not doesn't actually matter to the woke identity politics mob? They're only interested in being nominated and winning Academy Awards, as well as pushing their ideological messaging. That's it. But in terms of what movies were nominated for Best Picture, which are now also the Best Woke Identity Politics Awards, the movies nominated were taken from the most critically acclaimed movies with several exceptions. With only one exception this year, comedies, action, fantasy, and science fiction movies were excluded, which are well-known Academy biases. Highly acclaimed animated movies were relegated to only being nominated for Best Animated Film, and most of the highly acclaimed foreign movies were ignored, while some were relegated to only being nominated for Best International Film, provided that they got through the Academy's filtering process. Though there are a couple of exceptions. By the way, for political correctness no doubt, the Best Foreign Film category was renamed to Best International Film. So, bearing the various exceptions and woke identity politics quotas in mind, when we look at the 33 top-rated movies on Metacritic, we'll quickly see that the 10 movies that were nominated for Best Picture / Best Woke Identity Politics Award were drawn from these movies. The movie Past Lives has the highest Metacritic score at 94, and it was nominated. Its only other nomination was for Best Original Screenplay, but in terms of box office, it's one of the 2023 movies that fell into the gray area, meaning that it's not clear whether it broke even or not. But the second highest rated movie on Metacritic for 2023 with a score of 92 Hayao Miyazaki's animated movie The Boy and the Heron was not nominated for Best Picture/Best Woke Identity Politics Award. Instead, it was nominated for Best Animated Film, and that's its only nomination. In other words, The Boy and the Heron is more critically acclaimed than the other 9 movies that have been nominated for Best Picture. It's also one of the movies that currently sits in the gray area in terms of box office earnings. The third highest rated movie for 2023 on Metacritic with a score of 91 is The Zone of Interest, and it was nominated. And it also had 4 other nominations for Best Director, Best International Film, which is rare for any movie nominated for Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Sound. But The Zone of Interest also flopped at the box office. The fourth highest rated 2023 movie on Metacritic with a score of 90 is All of Us Strangers, which was not nominated for anything. As the second highest rated foreign film on Metacritic, it wasn't nominated for Best International Film because it's also from the UK, as is The Zone of Interest. So it probably wasn't submitted for consideration for Best International Film, but as an LGBTQ film, it's surprising that it didn't get nominated for anything by the Hollywood elite. The next 2 movies share the next highest score of 89 on Metacritic, and both of them were nominated for Best Picture/the Best Woke Identity Politics Award. The Martin Scorsese movie Killers of the Flower Moon, which flopped in theaters, and Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, which was the third highest grossing movie for 2023, and it received the highest total number of nominations at 13, which I won't list here. Then the next 6 movies share the next highest score of 86 on Metacritic, which I'll list in alphabetical order. The movie All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt wasn't nominated for anything in spite of it having an all-black cast, and I think the reason for that is due to the movie having hardly any dialogue. But Anatomy of a Fall was nominated for Best Picture/the Woke Identity Politics Award along with 4 other nominations. It falls into the gray area with regards to the box office. Fallen Leaves was not nominated for anything because it's a foreign film. The movie Poor Things was nominated for Best Picture/the Best Woke Identity Politics Award, as well as 10 other nominations, making it the movie with the second highest number of nominations overall behind Oppenheimer. But unlike Oppenheimer, Poor Things flopped at the box office. The fifth movie in this group is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which was nominated for Best Animated Movie, and that was its only nomination. The movie not only broke even at the box office, it was the 6th highest grossing movie for 2023. And the last movie in this group, The Delinquents, was not nominated for anything because it's a foreign film. The 13th highest rated movie on Metacritic with a score of 85, May December, was nominated for Best International Film, but it was a primarily streamed movie, which means it probably made little to no money whatsoever. 2 of the 3 next highest rated movies on Metacritic with scores of 84 weren't nominated for anything. The movie Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, because it's a comedy, and Earth Mama because it's a foreign movie. But The Teacher's Lounge was nominated for Best International Film. Rye Lane, which has the 16th highest score on Metacritic with a score of 83, wasn't nominated for anything because it's a romantic comedy. But 2 of the next 5 movies that share the next highest Metacritic score of 82 were nominated for Best Picture/the Best Woke Identity Politics Award, American Fiction and The Holdovers. And both of these movies each have a total of 5 nominations, and they both flopped in theaters. The only other movie in this group that was nominated for something was Io Capitano, which was nominated for Best International Film. But the other 2 movies in this group that weren't nominated for anything were A Fire because it's foreign and Hitman because it's a comedy. The next 3 movies share the next highest Metacritic score of 81. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which we all know flopped in theaters because it was frequently featured in my 2023 Who Will Be the Biggest Flop video series, was only nominated for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound. It was probably not nominated for Best Picture because it's an action movie. The movie Monster wasn't nominated for anything because it's foreign, but the movie Robot Dreams was nominated for Best Animated Film. The next 4 movies all shared the same Metacritic score of 80, and of these, only one was nominated for Best Picture / the Best Woke Identity Politics Award. And that movie would be Barbie, which, even though it's both a fantasy and a comedy, it did get nominated for, in my own opinion, the following reasons. It was a nod to the fact that it was the highest grossing movie of 2023, earning over $1.4 billion. It's an incredibly woke movie about female empowerment. And finally, because its main star, Margot Robbie, and its director, Greta Gerwig, were not nominated for Best Actress or Best Director. In other words, Barbie being nominated for Best Picture was probably more of a sympathy vote than anything else, but the movie did receive 7 other Oscar nominations. Now, the only other movie in this group that was nominated for anything is the foreign sci-fi movie Godzilla Minus One, which was nominated for Best Visual Effects. The other 2 movies in this group weren't nominated for anything: The Beast, which is also a foreign sci-fi movie, and You Hurt My Feelings, which is a comedy. Now, for the last 4 movies in the top 33 most critically acclaimed movies from Metacritic, only one of them was nominated for Best Picture / the Best Woke Identity Politics Award. And that's the movie Maestro, whose Metacritic score was only a 77, and it was a streamed movie. The other 3 movies, Priscilla, Blackberry, and John Wick Chapter 4, were a biopic, a foreign movie, and an action thriller, respectively. So half of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture / the Best Woke Identity Politics Award flopped in theaters. The only 2 Best Picture nominees that were actually successful at the box office were Oppenheimer and Barbie, while 2 of them are in the gray area and 1 of them was only streamed. And of the 33 most critically acclaimed movies on Metacritic, only 18 of them were nominated for at least something by the Academy, which means that the other 15 movies that have been nominated had Metacritic scores that were lower than 77. In fact, the movie with the lowest Metacritic score to be nominated for an Academy Award was Golda, which has a Metacritic score of 48, so I consider that to be a dubious nomination. Now, last year, I said that I was not planning to watch this year's Academy Awards due to the Best Picture Award now being relegated to being the Best Woke Identity Politics Award, but I might watch it so that I can review the ceremony. But as far as I'm concerned, moviegoers are the final critics because they are the ones who determine whether a movie flops or breaks even at the box office. The Hollywood elite always downplay the importance of the audience's tastes and views because it rarely matches their own, as I have demonstrated by the fact that the Academy Awards rewards box office mediocrity and failure far more than it rewards box office success.
Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.